All right, just going to go through a quick thing for some calculator instructions for how to solve a system by graphing. So I just grabbed a couple examples over here to the side that you can see on the left. And so I'm just going to show you how to do this on the calculator. So what we want to do first, hit the y equals button, that's the upper left, and we're going to type in the two equations that I have in my system here. Now I'm going to type negative for that negative x squared. Now when you type x, you want this button right here, it says xt, it has a theta and an n, that gives you a variable. To square it, I'm just going to hit this button right here, diagonal from the 7, and then just plus 4x, you don't have to put a multiplication, and then make sure you use minus 3. And I'm just going to use the arrow key down here to type in the next equation, which is just negative x plus 1. Okay, now once you've got that, you can go ahead and hit graph, and you might have to change the window here, but it looks like mine's okay. Mine's just on a negative 10 to 10, and let me see if I can zoom in on this a little bit so you can see the picture a little bit better. We're trying to find the intersection, which is what we're trying to look at when we solve a system. So this one has two intersection points. So what I'm going to do there, after I've got that typed in, you're just going to hit second, and then the button that says trace, the second function there is calc, which is to calculate something. So I'm just hitting second and then calc. We want to find the intersection. So, excuse me, you can type the number 5 or you can arrow down to it. If you arrow down to it, you have to hit enter. If you type the number 5, it'll just automatically take you back to the graph. When you hit enter, if you arrow down to it, it'll take you back to the graph. Now, very important here, don't use the up and down keys, just use the left and right keys. If you use the up and down keys, it takes you off the graph. And all I'm going to do here, just going to arrow, it doesn't have to be right on top of it, but just close to where you think the intersection is. And then across the bottom, it'll say first curve, that just the first equation that we're on. Just go ahead, hit enter. And then it'll say second curve. Now it flips the cursor to the line there in that system. It was on the parabola. When I do that, it flips it to the line. Just go ahead, hit enter again. And then it says guess, but we don't want to guess. We want to actually calculate it. So you just hit enter a third time, and then it should display to you the intersection point between here. It's going to be 1, 0. So both of those equations would have the point 1, 0. I can also see there's a second point where that intersects, so I just want to repeat that process. So I'm just going to start over, just do second, and then the trace button, which is to calculate. This time I'm just going to arrow down to number 5, hit enter. Should take me back to the graph. Now, I don't want this intersection because we just found it, so and you can hold down the arrow key or you can push it, whatever's easier for you, but just get closer to the other place that you see these two intersect each other. And then again, it'll say first curve, it's on the parabola, just hit enter. Second curve switches it to the line, just hit enter. Third thing it says is guess across the bottom of the screen there, but we don't want to guess, we want to just calculate it. So I'm going to hit enter a third time, and then it should hone right in on that point, which is going to be 4, -3.